After his first marriage broke up, Peter made a personal decision to avoid serious relationships. Although he had many women in his life, none of them stayed with him longer than a month. As the owner of a successful business, Peter was financially secure and women were constantly paying attention to him. However, Peter came to the realization that relationships were not for him, especially after his first wife left him for another man. The breakup was hard, but he found solace in his teenage daughter, Mary, with whom he shared many common interests. That all changed when a friend talked Peter into going on a double date. Although he initially brushed off the idea, Peter eventually agreed. Little did he realize that this date would be the turning point in his life. That day, Peter met love. Her name was Presley, a stunning 23-year-old former student who radiated the charm and beauty of a magazine model. Her perfectly proportioned figure, plump lips, and captivating blue eyes mesmerized Peter. Presley and her friend were in the habit of going on dates with rich men who could afford to pamper young women like them. They had started this lifestyle while they were still students and had no intention of stopping. However, a new stage in Presley's life came when she unexpectedly fell in love with Peter. He showered her with bouquets, baskets of fruit, and took her on extravagant dates, fulfilling all her desires. Unfortunately, Presley's friend became jealous and ended their friendship because of the attention Presley was receiving from Peter. No man had ever given her such attention before. John made fun of his friend, jokingly calling him Cupid. If John hadn't talked him into going on a double date, he might never have met this stunning woman. Honestly, it wasn't the wisest decision. Peter firmly believed that relationships with young women would only be fleeting and not serious. When Presley first mentioned her desire to get married while hanging out with friends, he surprised her with a ring and a marriage proposal. Overjoyed, Presley enthusiastically accepted his gift and immediately shared the news on her social media page. The wedding was a grand event, carefully thought out, taking into account all the whims of Presley. Her future husband gave her free rein, and being in love, indulged all the bride's wishes. Peter's daughter from a previous marriage, Mary, acted as a bridesmaid. Presley and Mary did not immediately become friends, but over time, the future stepmother managed to gain Mary's trust, which led to a mutually beneficial situation when both sincerely fell in love with each other. They lived 2 happy years together, understanding and supporting each other. Peter was pleased that his beloved was able to find common ground with his daughter, and they often went on vacations together, creating wonderful memories. He never imagined that their seemingly perfect marriage would be shattered by an unexpected breakup. Peter never restricted his love, allowing his wife the freedom to pursue her interests. Whether it was a passion for outdoor activities or visiting beauty salons, Presley had several hobbies that she pursued wholeheartedly. A man constantly bragged about his wonderful wife to his friends, who cautioned him against taking her for granted. They believe that the problem arises when a woman does not understand boundaries. However, Peter ignored their advice and trusted Presley completely, which he soon regretted. One day at work, the secretary, as usual, delivered Peter's mail. Among the letters was an unusual envelope without stamps and return address, which attracted his attention. Without hesitation, he opened it and discovered a series of photographs inside. Despite the poor quality, the pictures clearly showed his wife with another man. With each photo, he became more and more frustrated. Desperately hoping that he had made a mistake, Peter went to the receptionist, who received an envelope from the morning guard. The guard, in turn, traced the incident to a teenager with a masked face, leaving Peter with no answers. In his office, he looked at the photos until his eyes ached. The man was completely unable to concentrate on his work. All he could think about was Presley in the pictures. She was pictured next to a strange man. It was hard to tell the man's age from the quality of the pictures, but their actions were unmistakable. He wondered who could have sent him such a gift, irrefutably proving his wife's betrayal. Presley no longer had a chance to get away with deception. The photographs were irrefutable proof that did not allow for lies and denials. That evening, he didn't immediately head home after work. Instead of driving, he caught a cab and went to a bar where he drowned his sorrows in alcohol. Venting his heartache, he turned to John, whose friendship had been strained since his marriage to Presley. Despite the distance in their relationship, John rushed to his aid as quickly as he could. It wasn't until the next morning that he was able to gather his thoughts after a stormy night. His head throbbed, his soul tormented. He didn't know how to start a conversation with Presley. Waking up, he found his wife busy in the kitchen. Eager to rid himself of the sleepless nights haunting him, Peter took a long cold shower in an attempt to clear his mind. With no other plans, he simply placed the envelope with the defamatory photos on the table and waited for his wife's reaction. When Presley picked up the photos, her face turned pale. Her eyes widened, and she seemed to step back in fear. She looked at her husband with fear in her eyes. His head throbbed with terrible pain, and he had no strength to vent his anger on her. They looked at each other in silence, unable to find words. "Darling, please tell me something," she whispered, her voice shaking with tears. "I never thought you would know," she admitted, her confession about her lover filled with confusion. Peter knew the man well. They had crossed paths several times on business matters. Listening to him, he genuinely tried to understand what his wife felt was missing in their marriage. She had everything she could ever want, and Presley had never complained about their life together. So, why didn't he have an answer to that question? Seeking clarity, he asked his wife. "I don't know. It just happened," she mumbled in response. Now that they were going through the divorce process, Peter felt relieved that he had listened to John before they were married and entered into a prenuptial agreement. While he didn't leave Presley with nothing, she didn't get much either. After the divorce certificate was in their hands, Presley received an unexpected phone call from a friend with whom they had once gone on double dates. Her voice was sweet and kind at first, but then suddenly turned into an angry laugh. "Did you think you could get away with it? Did you think I was going to leave it like that?" Presley was shocked at her friend's words, feeling a sharp pain and nausea shoot through her. She hadn't expected such a reaction from someone she trusted. They had known each other for years, and she never thought her friend would hold such a grudge against her. It turned out that she was the one who found out about Presley's infidelity. When she found out, she hired a boy to follow Presley around, taking incriminating photos, which were then revealed to Peter with the boy's help. The woman was completely shocked by her friend's act. After the betrayal, Presley's relationship with the man in the photos didn't last long either. He had a family of his own and had no intention of marrying her. It took 7 years before she remarried. But the new marriage left her unhappy. She regretted her missed happiness with Peter, but nothing could be changed now.